Hello students, I am Sanjana Kavatigi, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE AITM Belgavi. Let us continue with the module number 1. In this video, we will be studying about data center environment. Today, data centers are essential and integral parts of any business, whether it may be small, medium, or large in size. The core elements of a data center are host, storage, connectivity, or network, you can say, applications, and DBMS. All these are managed centrally. These elements work together to process and store the data. With the evolution of virtualization, data centers have also evolved from a classic data center to a virtualized data center, abbreviated as VDC, virtual data center. In a VDC or virtual data center, physical resources from a classic data center are pulled together and provided as virtual resources. This abstraction hides the complexity and limitations of physical resources user. Now let us understand host. Users store and retrieve data through the applications. The computers on which these applications run are referred to as host or compute systems. So what is host? Host is nothing but a computer system on which the applications that are going to retrieve data are run. Okay, so host can be physical or it may be a virtual machine. Both can be the host. A compute virtualization software enables creating virtual machines on top of a physical compute infrastructure. So compute virtualization and virtual machines we will be discussing in the upcoming videos. Examples of physical hosts include desktop computers, servers or cluster of servers, laptops and mobile devices. You can see in the figure all of these. So host consists of CPU, memory, IO devices and a collection of software to perform computing operations. This software includes the operating system, file system, logical volume manager, device drivers and so on. This software can be installed as separate entities or as part of the operating system. Okay, so the computer or the CPU consists of four main components, that is ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, control unit, registers and level 1 cache, that is L1 cache. So there are two types of memory on host, that is one is RAM, random access memory, the other one is read only memory. You know what is RAM and ROM. Okay, so RAM is like a volatile memory and read only memory will be the fixed memory. So IO devices enable communication with the host. Examples of IO devices can be keyboard, mouse, monitor, etc. The software that runs on host and enables processing of input output data. The following in the upcoming sections or slides we will be studying the various software components that are essential parts of a host system. Now you can see in the figure what the host consists of. It has various layers, okay, or various components you can say. At the bottom we have HBA, that is host bus adapter. Above that we will be having device drivers and then volume manager and file system, operating system, and at the top level applications through which the user will be operating the compute or host. These are the logical components of a host and we will be studying these things one by one. Okay, the first logical component is application. An application is a computer program that provides the logic for computing operations. The application sends requests to the underlying operating system to perform the read or write operations. Read is nothing but fetching the data from the memory. Write is storing some data into the memory. Okay, this will be performing read or write operations onto the storage devices. Applications can be layered on the database, which in turn uses the operating system services to perform the read or write operations on the storage devices. Applications deployed in a data center environment are commonly categorized as, one is business applications and then infrastructure management applications or data protection applications and security applications. Some of these examples of these applications can be email or ERP, that is enterprise resource planning, decision support system, that is DSS, resource management, backup, authentication, and antivirus applications, and so on. The characteristics of IOs, that is input output, generated by the applications influence the overall performance of storage system and storage solution designs. The next component we have is the operating system. In traditional computing environments, an operating system controls all aspects of the computing. It works between the application and the physical components of a computer system. So one of the services it provides to the applications is data access. The operating system also monitors and responds to user actions and the environment. It organizes and controls hardware components and manages the allocation of hardware resources. It provides basic security for the access and usage of all managed resources. An operating system also performs basic storage management tasks while managing other underlying components such as the file system, volume manager, and device drivers. In a virtualized computer environment, the virtualization layer works between the operating system and the hardware resources. Uh, Here, the operating system might work differently based on the type of compute virtualization implemented. So, in a typical implementation, the operating system works as a guest and performs only the activities related to application interaction. In this case, hardware management functions are handled by the virtualization layer. In the operating system subject, you had seen one figure that is about virtual machines. In that you have studied about what is guest operating system. What is guest operating system? It is nothing but the operating system that is implemented in the virtualized machine, or virtual machine you can say. What this guest operating system will do, it will perform only the task, or it will perform, or it will run the application that is only specified to some specific purpose. Okay, so it will run, it will not support all other factors, it will be used only for that particular applications. So that is about guest operating system. Let us study the next logical component, that is volume manager, or you can also call it as logical volume manager. Okay, so in the early days, disk drives appeared to the operating system as the number of continuous disk blocks. The entire disk drive would be allocated to the file system or other data entity that is used by the operating system or any application. The disadvantage was there was a lack of flexibility. Okay, so when a disk drive when it ran out of space, there was no easy way to extend the file system size. Okay, also as the storage capacity of the disk drive is increased, allocating the entire disk drive for one file system would often resulted in underutilization of the storage capacity. Okay, there was one very big disadvantage was there was lack of flexibility. That is, if I want to extend the size of the memory, or if or you can say there is a lack of space, or the storage is running out of space for that particular file system, it was no easy task, or there was no easy way to increase the capacity of the storage device. Or in the other way, you can say, if there is a large volume of data available, large volume of space available for data storage, and your file system is too small. Okay, if I allocate entire storage device to that particular file system, it it used to result in underutilization of the resources. Okay, so what is the resource here? That is storage device, or the storage capacity of that particular system. So the evolution of logical volume managers, that is LVM, enabled dynamic extension of file system capacity and efficient storage management. The LVM is software that runs on the compute system and manages logical and physical storage. LVM is an intermediate layer between the file system and the physical disk. It can partition a large capacity of disk into virtual smaller capacity volumes. That process is called as partitioning. or it can aggregate several smaller disks to form a larger virtual volume. This process is called as concatenation. These volumes are then presented to applications. So what is partitioning? It is nothing but uh, partitioning a larger capacity disk into virtual and smaller capacity volumes. That is partitioning. And aggregating several such small disks to form one larger volume group is concatenation. So these volumes, after processing, can be presented to the applications. You can see in the figure, okay, in the below we have physical storage. Those are all disks, and then we have logical storage. Okay, so in between that we have a layer called LVM. Okay, so what are the LVM components? There are physical volumes, volume groups, and logical volumes. I will explain this. Okay, so disk partitioning was introduced to improve the flexibility and utilization of the disk drives, complete disk drive. Okay, so what happens in partitioning is a disk drive is divided into logical containers called as logical volumes. Okay, LVs are nothing but logical volumes. For example, uh, a large physical driver can be partitioned into smaller LVs, that is logical volumes, to maintain data according to the file system and application requirements. The partitions are created from groups of contiguous cylinders when the hard disk is initially set up on the host. Okay, the host file system accesses the logical volumes without any knowledge of partitioning and physical structure of the disk. Concatenation is a process of grouping several physical drives and presenting them to the host as one big logical volume. You can see in the figure in the next slide. The logical volume manager provides optimized storage access and simplifies the storage resource management. It hides the details about the physical disk and location of data on the disk. This also enables administrators to change the storage allocation even when the application is running. So that is the main advantage of logical volume manager. It allows the administrators to change the location of the storage even when the applications are running on the system. So the basic LVM components are the physical volumes and volume groups and logical volumes. So there are three basic components of LVM, that are physical volumes, volume groups, and logical volumes. So let us understand these. So in logical volume manager terminology, each physical disk is connected to the host system, that is called as physical volume, that is PV. Okay, each physical disk that is connected to the host system will be physical volume. The LVM converts physical storage provided by the physical volumes into logical weave of the storage, which is then used by the operating systems as well as applications. Okay, and then volume group. So this volume group is created by grouping together one or more physical volumes. Okay, we have understood what is physical volume. Next is volume group, that is created by grouping together one or more physical volumes. So a unique physical volume identifier, that is PVID, is assigned to each physical volume when it is initialized for use by the logical volume manager, LVM. Okay, physical volumes can be added or removed from a volume group dynamically. So this can be done. This can be added or removed dynamically. They cannot be shared between different volume groups, which means that the entire physical volume becomes part of a volume group. Okay, so each physical volume is partitioned into equal sized data blocks called physical extents when the volume group is created. Okay, and then the logical volumes will be created within a given volume group, that itself can be thought of as a disk partition, whereas volume group itself can be thought of as a disk. So we can think the volume group as a disk and logical volumes can be thought of as disk partitions, okay, on that particular volume group. Okay, so a volume group can have a number of logical volumes. The size of the logical volume will be based on multiples of the physical extents. You can see in the figure we have uh, at the uh, at the lower part of the figure we have three physical volumes: physical volume 1, physical volume 2, and physical volume 3. All these three together can be called as volume group. And then these physical volumes we have, you can say, abstracted, or uh, it is the logical volumes are created on the group of physical volumes, that is volume group, so that can be logical volume. Okay, the figure is showing physical volumes, volume group, as well as the logical volume. The figure on these two figures on the slide, it is showing disk partitioning as well as concatenation. The figure on the left side, you can see both with reference to both the figures, you understand the physical volume, that is at the lower part we have three layers. At the bottom layer we have physical volumes, that is physical storage disk. Okay, above that we have logical volumes. Okay, and then these logical volumes are in between host and the physical volumes. Okay, at the top layer we have host. Okay, first on the left side, partitioning is being shown. So how it is partitioned: one physical disk is partitioned into three logical volumes, and these three logical volumes can be used by the host. Okay, that is partitioning. And coming to uh, concatenation, we have three different storage devices, or three different physical volumes. All these three are abstracted, or these three can be concatenated into one logical volume, and that can be used by the host system. The next logical component is device drivers. A device driver, it is a special type of software that permits the operating system to interact with a specific device, such as printer, a mouse, or a disk drive. You might have observed whenever you connect any new device to your computer system, it may be a pen drive, or it may be a mouse, a keyboard, or any device that you're going to connect, input output device, or any, even the joystick or something like that. If you connect it to the system, new device, okay, if it is previously used, then it is fine. So whenever you're using it for the first time, you can see something that device driver will get installed. Okay, so what is the device driver? It is a special software that will permit the operating system to interact with your specific device that you have connected to the system. It may be a printer, a mouse, a keyboard, or a disk drive, or it may be a flash drive or a pen drive. Okay, so a device driver enables the operating system to recognize that particular device and to access and control the devices. So device drivers are hardware dependent and operating system specific. They are specific to each of the operating systems, and they are dependent on the hardware design of the computer system. Now coming to file system. A file, what is file? A file is a collection of related records or data that is stored as a unit with some name. Okay, file is a collection of related records or data that is stored as a unit given with a some name. Okay, a file system, it is a hierarchical structure of files. So file system can be represented as hierarchical structure of files. A file system enables easy access to data files residing within a disk drive or a disk partition or a logical volume. Okay, a file system consists of logical structures and software routines that control access to files. It provides the users with the functionality to create, modify, delete, and to access the files. Okay, so it provides the users the required functionalities, that is create, modify, delete, and access the files. Access to files on the disk is controlled by permissions assigned to the file by the owner which are also maintained by the file system. What are the file permissions given that can be given to any file by the owner is there are three permissions, that is read, write, executes. The operations on these files or the access to these files depends on the permissions given to the each of the file by the owner of the file. A file system recognizes data in a structured hierarchical manner via the use of directories, which are containers for storing pointers to multiple files. So what the directories contains? Directory is nothing but the folder, you can say. Okay. So file system is organized in some structural hierarchical manner with the use of directories. These directories are containers for storing some pointers to multiple files. All file systems maintain a pointer map to the directories, subdirectories, and files that are part of the file system. Some of the common examples of the file system are FAT32, that is file allocation table for Microsoft Windows, NT file system, that is called as NTFS for again Microsoft Windows. Next we have Unix file system, UFS for Unix operating system, and extended file system, that is ext2 bar 3 for Linux systems. Apart from the files and directories, the file system also includes a number of other related records which are collectively called as the metadata. For example, the metadata in a Unix environment consists of superblock, the inodes, and the list of data blocks which are free or that are in use. Okay, so the metadata of a file system must be consistent for the file system to be considered healthy. So if there are any modifications happening in the file, that should be reflected in the metadata. Okay, a superblock contains important information about the file system such as the file system type, creation and modification dates, size, and the layout. So this can be called as the metadata for that particular file system. Okay, all this information will be stored in superblock. So it also contains count of available resources such as the number of free blocks, inodes, and so on. Also a flag indicating the amount of status of the file system. An inode is associated with every file and directory, and it contains information such as the file length, ownership, and access privileges. Altogether it is called as inode. So it also includes the time of last access or modification, and the number of links and the address of the data. Okay, a file system block, that is the smallest unit allocated for storing the data. Okay, file system block is nothing but the smallest unit that is allocated to store the data. Each file system block is a contiguous area on the physical disk. The block size of a file system is fixed at the time of its creation. The file system size depends on the block size and the total number of file systems in the block. A file can span multiple file system blocks because most files are larger than the predefined block size of the file system. Okay.